Travis Wayne Goodsell. As I expected, out came the bullies with the loss of my lawsuit. Mocking, laughing, cheering. Still putting a lot of thumbs down, though. You'd think they would not put thumbs down, that they just flood the comment section, which I hold them all back. I still find it curious that they think that others are going to be able to view their comments, that I'm not going to hold them to keep bullies and abusers from trolling on the internet. Yet nonetheless, I got flooded with bullies and abusers. And experienced hacking problems on my computer, despite thinking that I had possibly fixed it from the last time. But yeah, all of this was expected because I'm right. If the church were true, I wouldn't be experiencing any death threats, assassination attempts, hacking, destroying of my life, bullying, trolling. No abuse. Mormons would endeavor to reclaim me in an affectionate and appropriate manner. But they don't have Jesus Christ as their God as they claim. Their God is Lucifer, and as a result, they act accordingly to their God. Mormon, born and raised, I know all about it. The manner in which you treat other people represents the God you worship. That's going to be my title. Let me write that down. And so as kids, Mormons were the bullies. Believe it or not, I was bullied. Despite being the tallest kid in my class, it required the bigger bullies from the upper grades to come after me. And so yeah, I still remember the fear going to school, sitting in the outside cafeteria there at Sierra Vista Elementary, watching the boys go through the line to get their food. And I've learned about the behavior of bullies, how they come from a position of strength, as they suppose. They only pick on weaker people. And in fact, one of which it would have been in junior high, but we read a book in our English literature class about such a story of a kid who was bullied. Then a new kid comes to school, and the kid who's been bullied wants to get in good with his bullies and then bullies this new kid. And of course, that's not the moral of the story. That would never have been approved for the curriculum. But it's not until the bullies are stopped by somebody bigger, stronger, better, in a higher authority than they are. I could stand up to them, get my ass kicked. The bullies I knew would have kept bullying. I would have been their bitch, as it is in the jails. They would have had no respect. I would have had to have beaten the hell out of all of them to get them to stop and leave me alone. And so the only option for bullied kids from my generation and where I grew up was to have somebody higher up deal with them. In high school, when my brother was being bullied, my brother didn't go into sports because he had distance issues with his eyes. He could not tell that a ball was coming at him. And so he, as my brother and I were forced to go outside and play ball by my mother, I lobbed the baseball at my brother and it hit him in the face. He never moved until it hit him in the face, and then he went crying back into Mom. That's because of his eye problem. He doesn't see distance. It's all two-dimensional, and so he can't tell if something's coming at him. Weird. But such is the case. And so he ended up reading books, reading the encyclopedias, reading the dictionary. And as a kid, that's not the cool thing to do. And so at school, as he was in honors courses and trying to get straight A's, to think that such would get him a better position in life, as he's now learned the hard way that his PhD in social work is worthless. Means nothing. Going to school and getting a higher education now means nothing. Just deep in debt. And in high school, he was picked on. There were other kids also getting picked on. I've talked about it before. The one kid tried to turn the bullies into friends, thinking that if he did stunts for them, acted like the court jester, that he would be liked and not be picked on. And it was very disturbing, but he thought it would be cool to have people spit in his mouth and then he would swallow it. And of course there were takers, male and female. But my sister came to me informing me that my brother was getting bullied, and they were breaking into his locker and stealing his lunch every day. And as I was a senior, I'd already gotten bullies off of me as the kids in school learned of how strong I was from being a basketball player. As one particular game, the other team player decided instead of going for the ball, he would try to tackle me. And he didn't. He did get onto my back, but ended up flying off. As the whole audience during that game, just, you could hear the mothers and the others just and even the coach, as the referee also, came to me saying, "Are you all right?" And the coach had to tell me afterwards, you're supposed to fake injury when something like that happens. It helps the referee kick the guy out of the game. But yeah, I was not messed with. And so as I'm sitting in the high school cafeteria where his locker was with my sister, as we were waiting to find out who these bullies were, word had already gotten around. They never showed. My brother wasn't picked on again until at least after I left. And so with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they run the whole state of Utah. They're rich enough that they control the top businesses. They control nations. They're doing business with terrorists. They're doing business with Russia. And yet you can hear still to this day in the video of Nelson making that announcement of a temple in Russia. You hear the Mormons cheer. And so in the next one, Nelson had to say, "Don't cheer anymore. Stop it." You know, in that same one, he comes out and says, "Don't trust social media. You're going to hear some things. Don't listen. Stay away. Fake news." Yeah, he knew he was doing something wrong. And he still went through with it. I came to the church in 1998 saying, "Hey, I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. I plugged it in to the Bible, found out that Joseph Smith is correct. He's a translator. I want other stuff of his so I can show that he is a translator on everything he's done." And the church turned on me. And as a result, I've been bullied, abused, terrorized. They even accused me of being a terrorist. Had me indefinitely incarcerated for 6 years of my life. And the church has now gotten away with that because they put their justices in the federal court, as well as the state court, in which they were able to do that in the first place. They control everything. Does that make them the true church? That's might makes right. That's that philosophy. Does might make right? If a bigger bully, say like the United States of America, decides to come in and shut the church down, are Mormons going to be thinking that might makes right still? Or are they going to be crying and weeping like a bully getting caught? Not sorrow for what he had done wrong, not acknowledging he did wrong, but crying because he got caught. and wetting himself because of the fear he has of being caught. This is what bullies don't understand. And even when they get stopped by somebody bigger and stronger than them, or more authoritative, they may stop, depending on whether they can figure out a way to get away with it the next time, so that those same authoritative people are not going to find out and not come down on them again. They'll continue. If they get away with it, they will escalate. They force confrontation. They force violence. That's bullies. This is the church. You know, ex-Mormons, anybody of you who have criticized the church, saying, hey, what you're doing to little kids is not right. What you're doing to women, not right. What you're doing to blacks, not right. What you're doing to LGBTQ, not right. What you're doing to the poor, not right. The church bullies them. They'll threaten them first to remain silent. Then they'll move forward with excommunication if the people won't stop. You heard Oaks in the last October conference. Don't protest. Sue. Oh, yeah. How well did that go for me? They know they're in a position of strength. They know there's no one who dares to molest or make afraid. But with me, notice they're not excommunicating me. They've been trying to assassinate me. Why assassinate me and no one else? Why just excommunicate others, but try to assassinate me? Is it Jesus Christ giving the orders to have me assassinated? Is that the wrath of Jesus? Get him, Nelson. Get him. Can't Jesus do it himself? Can't Nelson do it himself? Corruption, criminal behavior, sin, it's obvious. We all know what it is. There is no gray area. Oh, I don't know. The gray area is when you start implementing idolatry. Oh, I don't know. Are we allowed to drink Mountain Dew on the Sabbath day? It's not in scriptures, but the mythology says it is a sin. I could be denied exaltation if I drink Mountain Dew on the Sabbath day. Oh, I don't know, Elder. I think drinking Mountain Dew at any time is a sin. You could lose your exaltation. You don't want Mountain Dew to be the cause of you losing exaltation, do you? That's how absurd it gets. But everybody knows you don't steal. You don't cheat. You don't murder. You don't hold someone prisoner. You're supposed to go through the courts. And the courts have a pro se litigant guide. That's what none of these people who are attacking me now understand. I used the pro se litigant guide. I followed it, filled it out, as dictated. And the judges rejected that. They said, no. It was approved. The magistrate judges in both situations approved the lawsuits to move forward, but the justices said, no, we're not going to hear the evidence in this case. We're shutting it down before we hear the evidence. They're required to hear the evidence before making their final decision. And in both lawsuits, they wouldn't hear the evidence. The church said, don't let them hear the evidence. Don't hear the evidence. Shut them down. Don't let them do it. That's what these bullies don't understand. They all complain. One even got in specific detail. He had access to the filing. He does not understand the law. And he's just saying, he's attacking, mocking, because the justices violated their oath of office as justices. Might makes right. Maybe that should be the title. I'll save this other one for another title. Might makes right. And so knowing that I need a bigger bully or somebody with higher power, higher authority, do you not think I wouldn't have done that? So we'll see. We'll see. But this is a national security threat that the church causes. They're dealing with Russia. They're helping to spread coronavirus and escalating it, refusing to shut down the church. They're not a necessary business. They're not going to go bankrupt by keeping church closed. They don't have to have people assemble at church. They can have meetings online. There is no reason to put people's lives in danger. It's just a religion. A religion that's supposed to love and care for their members. Not hate. Not be racist, sexist, bigoted. But the church is committing all sorts of crimes. The whistleblower, that was only a 1,000th percentage of what's really going on. And there's still, nothing's been decided on that with the IRS. They just sat on it. But the church was involved in this insurrection. We have Mormons who were involved on the 6th. We have 9 congresspersons, I think they're all men, who are now in Congress who are now trying to overthrow the government from within, to prevent the Democrats from doing what they want to do as Democrats according to their platform, which is not to overthrow the government. And you may disagree with Democrats' methods of doing what's good for the nation, but Democrats are not trying to overthrow America. This is what bullies do, is they blame the victim. You know, that's why in rape cases, if they go to court, the guy always says, well, you know, she asked for it, in both definitions. You know, oh, she was dressed kind of slutty and took advantage of me while I was drunk. I'm the real victim. I was the one who was raped. She shouldn't have been in that back alley, even though that was her only way to get home. And these bullies of Mormonism are not reading their Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon is anti-bully, and yet this is what Mormons are doing. So some disconnect is going on, and it's the leaders of the church. It's their parents who got it from the leaders of the church, all the way back to the original origin bullies, Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball, the original terrorists, because that's what it is. You know, the Homeland Security and the FBI are calling these white supremacists, and that's what the church is. They're racist, sexist, bigoted, hate the poor. They enforce it with hate speech, incite to violence. The church is a white supremacist terrorist group. But because they're worldwide, they're more than just domestic terrorists. They're the umbrella over all terrorists. And they've got the money to finance it. And so I hope that there is somebody in authority above the church to hold the church accountable, because I've now failed. And it was expected. And I knew that in the first lawsuit. I even put it in there. But I had given prior warning about coronavirus, about the terrorist insurrection threat. And it was all from the Book of Mormon. Book of Mormon gives us the dates, and they give us the events that are to attack America. The method and the manner. They even indicate that Trump was supposed to lose the election. That was all part of the plan. That's how they play the game. Mentally manipulating people, giving false hope, stringing them along, and then crushing the hope. And then dangling out hope again for any survivors, stringing them along, and then crushing the hope. This is torture bullying. This is why They gave $1,200 in relief in the beginning, and it's why they have refused the rest of the year, and it's why we only got 600 this last time, and it's why the 1,400, which was supposed to be 2,000, is now being delayed, postponed, as Republicans are extorting Democrats who get 2 votes for two bills, to have a majority vote rather than the 2/3 vote. And so Democrats have to pick and choose which 2 they're going to do over others. And the answer is simple. What is the problem? It's the Republicans. They're the insurrectionists. What do you do with insurrectionists? Do you keep them in power? Or do you remove them from power? You remove them. Then guess what? 2/3 is a lot easier to obtain. But I'm concerned Democrats aren't doing what is necessary to save America, and are either complicit, as they're playing the good cop, bad cop thing, the dichotomous only 2 options. But yeah, the church is over it all. They're the puppet masters. Not a coincidence that President Benson in a solemn assembly went after Master of Puppets. Don't listen to it. Its beat and tone will lure you to the dark side. Oh, okay, so I can just take out the lyrics and have it as a poem and read the poem. Leper Messiah, Master of Puppets, Battery. It'd be a little tough with Orion. Can I have it as the music composition? Even though it does represent the beat and the tone in writing. It's just, when you throw in idolatry, all hell breaks loose.